2037, How We Got Here. In the face of the end of the oil age and failing economies worldwide, nations began forming multi-nation trade unions. The unions came to an agreement treaty. Each union voted in one representative to sit in on a new World Council called the First Union. In doing so, the First Union would vote as chairman on all world matters. For their cooperation to bring peace and stability, the First Bank of Commerce would loan massive amounts of their cryptocurrency called credit to monetarily prop up the failing nation-states of the world. In response to this, worldwide instability and civil wars break out as various insurgency groups fight to maintain their sovereignty. This forces each individual trade union to band together their collective military might under the NATO banner to help quell the uprising, inflicting global martial law. The First Union is made up of 9 representatives elected by the individual trade unions. However, these elite men and women have no term limits and only answer to each other, and the anonymous creators behind the First Bank of Commerce, whose credits are the driving force of all transactions and industry. At present date, the First Union is comprised of Sasha Fedorova of the Russo-China Federation, Blair Peers of the European Union, Tukajoki Paka of the Eastern European Union, Claire Banks of the North American Union, Rosita Chavez of the South American Union, Kwame Nader of the African Union, King Amir Al Sayed of the United Arab Kingdom, Julia Whitlam of New Australia, and Akira Yoshida of the Pacific Asian Union. Every year, a host nation holds the First Union Conference on World Affairs. It is regarded as the biggest global event annually by Media One, and each year's agendas are voted on and then implemented in the following months with no civilian oversight. As the world's major currencies plummeted, major corporations began massive mergers and acquired major online hubs. The resulting conglomerations monopolized what they could and then went global, backed by credits loaned by the First Bank. When the dust settled on the financial coup d'etat, only 5 major conglomerations remained: NeuralNet, Food World, Biomech, PharmaGlobe, and Media One. Strangely, as the lines between First Union and the 5 conglomerates began to blur, many CEOs died mysterious deaths and were abruptly replaced by friendlies of the First Union, in turn creating a pro-government message through all outlets. NeuralNet, in conjunction with the First Bank and the First Union, changed the world nearly overnight when they announced that in order to be paid for your services and credits, you must be implanted with an RFID chip that oversees all transactions made by keeping the user online at all times, ending the need for physical currency. In addition to credit management, the user is traceable by GPS at all times to combat terrorism. Neural enhancers allow for a screen-like application which only the user can see and is functioned through brain signals, allowing the user to tap into the neural net anywhere, anytime. Food World monopolized both the synthetic food market and natural food market. Food World grocery markets sprung up in every city across the world, the low-class eating synthetically created nutrient enzyme bars, while the rich continued eating the overly inflated products still grown on industrial-sized farms. Malnutrition and hunger run rampant in poor nations as no viable competitors existed. Biomech became the leading tech company on Earth. They were able to mostly eliminate manual labor to cut costs for megacorporations in just a matter of years. Their real contribution came when they successfully created the world's first autonomous synthetic human. The synths quickly took up 75% of the world's jobs, putting billions of people out of work. The result being mass starvation and extreme poverty. To combat the instabilities they were creating, Biomech began installing biomechanical augmentations to anyone who could financially afford to do so, creating more job competition. This, however, would create a divide between bioaugs and anti-mech Homo sapiens. PharmaGlobe is the shining bright star of the future. They began recreating nearly all medications to sell at much more affordable costs. As more and more people turned to mechanized augmentations and the installation of RFID chips became mandatory, adverse reactions began to appear. PharmaGlobe created neuroenzymes to combat the issues. Although the only proper treatment available, neuroenzymes taken outside of prescription-only use has created the largest drug epidemic the world has ever seen. The drug creates an intense euphoric feeling leading to deadly black markets. Media One is the leading media outlet in the entire world. It is a one-stop news machine, translated throughout the world to give the latest news and happenings and First Union policies, local and national government bulletins, as well as all entertainment and sports, all spreading the approved messages of the First Union.